Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare
So, Hare Krishna, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining last weekend of Bhakta course. I hope you are happy to come to the end of this course. I see it's quite some work to, at least for me as teacher. Even though I have just 2 or 3 per weekend, or sometimes no weekend, but you are there for the full session, so it must be quite intense. But I hope it's going all good. I thank you for also sending your answers. I can see you are doing very good work. You are very attentive to the sessions, and yeah, I hope you are benefiting a lot also on your own personal level in Krishna consciousness from all those courses. So we will this morning we will have 2 sessions together. One is the first one now with reincarnation, karma, and free will, and destiny, free will. And then we will have 15 minutes break, and we will have about the holy name, japa chanting, kirtan, bhajan, so on and so forth. So we will start with the first topic. So we have 3 topics for right now for this session. We will start with reincarnation, which is most probably one of the simplest, but which is actually the ground on which we build after with karma and the destiny and free will. So I will share my screen. Mm. Mm. That's not a good thing. Okay, so reincarnation. I guess most of you are quite well aware of all of that. Therefore, actually, we do not have questions on this topic in the question for exam, because it's very simple and very easy for most of us. So reincarnation, it actually means the process of coming again into flesh, the process of coming into flesh again. This is the Latin meaning of the word reincarnation. So the ground for understanding reincarnation is the eternity of the soul. This is actually what is helping us to understand. Yeah. And here we have one verse. Maybe we can ask Bhakti Nivon to read it from Bhagavad Gita 2:20.
For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Thank you. So this is like setting the ground. First of all, if we want to understand what reincarnation is, we have to understand that the soul is eternal. Huh? And that's a very, very beautiful verse explaining he did not come to life, he will not die, he's unborn, ever existing. And then here is another verse of Bhagavad Gita that goes deeper into how the reincarnation process is going. Maybe we can ask Judge Valya Prabhu to read this one.
As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Bhagavad Gita 2.22.
Thank you. So this is what we can see in this picture. We can see there is the soul or this spark in the heart, and no matter how the body is growing and declining up to death, the soul is always inside eternal. Huh? You can check out where we are on this picture. Middle or further than middle or before the middle. This is what is happening to all of us. Our body is temporary, but we are sitting inside as the eternal living entity. So reincarnation means the transmigration, the passing of the soul from one body to another at the time of death. This is the definition of reincarnation. And so here we have two thoughts. One is that as long as we have to enjoy material pleasure in this material world, Krishna will give us the chance by giving us another body in this world. He will not take us back home against our free will. So this is often something whenever I'm speaking with someone who is new in Krishna consciousness or not a devotee, and we have discussion about the reincarnation, is really the Lord is not going to take us back home against our will. So if at the time of death we are still desire to accomplish things in this world or enjoy this world to some extent, then it will be just totally natural that we will get another body to continue where our desire is. And only when our desire is transformed and we want to go back to Godhead, that we want to be reunited with the Lord, then at that time our consciousness will be fit to go to this destination. And also another thought that is there is that only in the human form one has the chance to get out of the cycle of birth and death. So this is the great chance we have to have a human body, that only there we can actually get the access out of the cycle of reincarnation. So here we have a quote of how it works, that we get a new body according to our state of mind. And maybe we can ask Bhakta Chirag to read this quote.
Gets a new body according to his state of mind, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits the body. O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Bhagavad Gita 8.6.
Okay. So that's explained that, yeah, whatever our thoughts are at the time of death, this will define our new body. And then according to the karma that we have, it will define maybe where we take the body. So I remember there was one devotee, her father was on the point of passing away, and the family was not devotees, and the father liked very much his dog. So the family member had placed in front of him in the room where he was dying a picture of the dog, because they thought it will be nice for him to see the dog when he lived, because he loved his dog so much. And the devotee who was in this family as well say, "Oh no, don't do that. You will just help him to take a birth in the body of a dog, because that will be the object of his meditation when he will quit his body." So if we take this scenario, then he might take the body of a dog, but then according to his karma, he might be a dog taking birth in Germany in a very rich family who will feed the dog very nicely and he will have everything nicely. Or he can take birth as a dog in India, where he will be all the time attacked by other dogs. He will lose his hair and will have so many diseases. So there is, at the time of death, there is the thought that we have that will project us to the new body, and then according to the karma, also that's also an element that will work together on the quality of the body that we will get in the next life. So both of them are actually working our state of mind and our thoughts at the time of death, and also the karma that we have accumulated. Here we have one example of reincarnation, for those who don't believe in it, of a child prodigies. I'm not sure if I pronounce it rightly. And we have example like this of, for example, this child who, even though a child, he is able to actually make amazing mathematic formula that no child will be able to do. And that shows that in his previous life he was actually engaged into doing such a things, and now suddenly something has transpired through the new birth, that he have all this tendency that he's able to do. And here we have another thought, which is more or less summarizing the whole thing. It coming Bhagavad Gita 10.142. Maybe we can ask Raghav and Nikita if they can read this one.
We don't see the screen.
Can you see the slide?
No, Prabhuji. We see the child prodigy slide.
Okay. Can the others see the slides? Yeah, I guess because some were reading. Okay, then no problem. I will ask maybe Dipali Mataji if you can read it.
Prabhuji, not able to see the.
Oh, you also? Okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji, we see this child prodigy's slide still.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So far you were able to see, and now do you see it, the next one? Still
No,
not, huh?
Prabhuji. Prabhuji, your video is also hanged.
Okay. Is it maybe the internet that is not so strong? Hopefully my computer will not die again like last time. Okay, anyway, it's the...
Now, Prabhuji, we see.
Now we can see, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Oh, it's gone now. It's again, yeah. Now we can see.
Now we see.
Okay, then maybe Nikita Mataji, if you can read it.
Yes. To save oneself from the repetition of birth and death, one must purify his consciousness. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratven 70. One must be freed from all designations. I'm American, I'm Indian, I am this, I am that, and come to the platform of understanding that Krishna is the original master and we are his eternal servants. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.
Okay, so that's what will take us out of this cycle of birth and death, will be actually to understand that we are an eternal servant and act in this consciousness. So I will stop sharing. That's for the first part on reincarnation, and maybe we can see if some of you have some questions so far on this topic. And if not, we will move to the next one on karma and reincarnation. Sorry, karma.
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where exactly I heard, but I heard that before coming to human body, the soul has to go through all the species, like the 840 million, 8.4 million, or like all the species of uh, species. So, like, is it like how is it possible? Because there are so many species which are also extinct. So the soul cannot transmigrate to those forms of species which are already extinct. And like how to understand this?
Yeah. It's actually when it's when it's in the animal form or vegetable form or insects or whatever, then it's just the law of material nature who make the change. The soul have no choice to do anything. Only when actually it comes in the point of human beings, then one can do something about it and get the access out. So it's difficult. I don't remember personally having heard that it is a must for all the soul to go through all the species until they come to human. I'm not 100% sure that it's a must. Like for example, you might have a cat, and the cat might hear a Vaishnava singing the holy name, or might receive some prasad, or like this, and then immediately he get an opportunity to go in a higher birth and get a birth of a human being. So they are actually just us doing devotional service. We are actually helping so many spiritual souls who are in different bodies to actually get benefited and get access to human birth faster than what they would have to go. But I never personally, I don't remember, or I never heard that you have to go through all the species until you get to human birth. But most probably we went through many of them. That's no no doubt. But I don't think we have to go through all of them. Please, if someone in the call have heard something different or would have a quote or something to confirm that, please feel free to add it. But that's as far as my understanding goes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, it makes sense.
Good. Okay. So then we will go to the next slide presentation, and now we will check about karma. So let me stop here. Okay, the laws of karma. Is life just a cosmic lottery and I don't have any real input? So we start with karma, the definition of the word karma. Karma means work or activity, and the laws of karma means that any action will produce a reaction. And that explains that whatever pain or pleasure we give to others, we are actually going to get it back to us. As you sow, so shall you reap. Which makes a lot of sense, really a lot of sense. So this is the cycle of karma. For every action, there is a reaction. And here we have a quote from a non-devotee who actually understood everything properly. He said, I believe that the soul of man is immortal and will be treated with justice in another life, respecting its conduct in this. And here we have also a famous picture showing that our activity will push us into a next life to actually get the pain that we are giving to others will be given back to us. I think there are also some quotes of Prabhupada mentioning that for those who kill animals or slaughter animals, they will be slaughtered by those same animals. I think there is even in Srimad Bhagavatam when I don't remember if it was Daksha or someone had done, no, it was not Daksha, I don't remember who exactly, but he had done some animal sacrifice. And I think Lord Brahma is coming and say, look in the sky, all the animals that you have killed, they are just waiting. And then when they will take birth, they will come to you and they will give you the same that you gave to them. Actually, maybe for next course, I can take a proper reference and tell you the story tell the next students. You will not be there next year, but I should take a note of that. It will be good to have the reference proper of this story. So to understand karma in a proper way, we need to understand the fourth stage of an activity, which actually starts with desire, then move into a decision. So the desire pop up in our mind, and then we take a decision. Will I do it or not? Do I accept it or not? This is like more on the level of the mind. And then come the action. That will be more or less with the body or words. And then come the reaction. What will happen what will be the reaction of this action? And here we can see how it's the same principle. We have totally on the right side the desire, decision, activity, and reaction. And then we have the Sanskrit words, bija, kutastha, falonmukha, and the next one, I cannot see, parabdha. And then is the seed, the bird, the fruit, and the harvest. And then we have the desire, the decision, the activity, and the reaction. So we can see in the desire is desire to enjoy and control separately from Krishna in various ways. The decision is thinking, feeling, and willing. That's connected to the mind. Coming to decision to perform a particular activity. And then there is the activity. And then the reaction comes usually through happiness and distress. So a little time for reflection. Think of a time when something happened that you felt you didn't deserve. How did it make you feel? What were your thoughts? How did you react to the situation and the people involved? So here maybe we can take one of you if you would like to share your reflection on those questions. Are you still with me? Can you see the slide? Is everything all right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Anyone wants to make a try answering those questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. for first, when something happened that you felt you didn't deserve, before in Krishna consciousness, I was thinking that why it happening with me, why it happens to me. Now the thinking is changed. Now I'm thinking whatever has happened, it's all a good plan for Krishna's plan for me. Now I have to do whatever I'm doing, I have to give my best, and rest is taken care by Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. That's when we have a proper understanding of how the karma function, then the devotee will use that as a learning experience and will not revolt. But for most of the people, when that happened, usually anger is coming, and as a reaction, one is actually producing a new karma. One is doing activities that are not favorable and then produce new karma. Okay. Why are those things happening to me? That's often the question, and often we think we do not actually deserve what is happening. We always think we are good people and we don't deserve to suffer. But how will we respond to this karma? It's actually we can see in three different ways. One is an educational function of karma that allows us to learn through the situation. We will learn to be humble and understand that maybe that's what is happening is actually what we deserve. it's actually normal. We most probably did some bad things that now bring us some bad results. And what spiritual lesson I'm supposed to learn from that? Actually, I see the first point and the first and the third point are actually very similar. Just the second one is what spiritual lesson, or how I can see it from a spiritual point of view. So this is how we should respond to karma. Means actually we should respond to karma with some reflection. Usually when things happen, we are immediately pushed to respond in a strong way, or let's say an impulsive way when things happen, and then we immediately reproduce some action into it. But we, as devotee, we want to learn to be more thoughtful, to not react immediately, and then have a different approach into the situation and see, yeah, let me take the opportunity to become humble and see what I can learn from this situation. So there are some statements in the scripture explaining that the karma is actually administrated by the super soul. So the super soul is in the heart of every living entity, and he will influence or inspire the living entity to act in certain way where he will redistribute the karma of all living entities. Therefore, actually, a lot of time our karma is given by other living entities to us, and that gives us like a glimpse on how amazing the super soul is, that he has this ability of knowing all what the living entities are doing and what the living entity deserve, and redistributing all of that. So maybe we could ask Babajit Prabhu if he could kindly read this slide.
Yes, Prabhu. Karma is administered by the super soul. He knows everything, past, present, and future. He keeps track of our karmic account. He arranges for the particular body and circumstances we get in life. He makes sure we get the karmic reaction we deserve. He awards the living beings what they desire and deserve.
Yeah, thank you. So this is all designed or arranged by the super soul in the heart of all living entities. How these karmic things are moving is all in the hands of the super soul. And he fulfill our desires according to if we deserve it or not. So that means the super soul will not fulfill all our desire. If we don't deserve it, then it will not work. But if we deserve it, then it will work out. Excuse me, please. Now we will see three forms of karma. We have what is actually called karma, is technically pious work that we do according to scripture. So when we act actually in a proper way. Then we have vikarma, which is actually the impious work or whatever activities that are impious. And then we have akarma, which is the work that do not give material reaction. And this is actually the akarma, which is taking us out of this cycle of birth and death. Because as long as we have karmic reaction to get, then we will have to get a new body to get what we are actually supposed to get. Therefore, the activities in Krishna consciousness, the akarma activities, are the one we want to learn to do, because those ones are freeing us from the cycle of birth and death. So here we have a little deeper explanation. Maybe we could ask who did not read yet. Maybe Rahul Prabhu, if you can read this slide.
Sure, Prabhuji. Karma elevates one to higher status. A good birth or life on heavenly planets award material happiness. Vikarma, it produces negative reactions. Lower birth awards sufferings. Akarma gives liberation and establishes one in loving devotional service.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So that's more or less what I was explaining. The karma, the reaction of the karma, good birth and material happiness. Vikarma is lower birth and sufferings, and akarma brings us to liberation and establishes one in loving devotional service. So here we have some points for discussion. I will just bring them up first, and then if you have some thoughts or like to discuss on them, we can stop. So even so-called good karma is bondage, which is also we always want to have. I mean, as the living entity, usually we want to have happiness and we want to do good things so that we get good reactions. And it's already nice, but it's still binding us in this material world. There is sometimes the misinterpretation of karma, where we think or where we say, okay, everything is anyway my karma, I don't need to improve everything. And we think that, yeah, everything happened is my karma. I made a mistake, that was karma. Justifying our bad doing as karmic reactions. So that's actually a misinterpretation that we should be careful to not go at. When we do mistakes, we should not put it in the hands of karma, or to say, oh, it was Krishna's arrangement, I did the mistake, something like this. Those are misinterpretation. Then here another thought, which is not always easy to catch: action in inaction and inaction in action, which is actually connected to this akarma, to act without creating any result. So action in inaction means that one is acting. Oh, actually I put it in bracket to make sure I get it right. Reaction for not working. So action in inaction. You are in inaction, but you still get reaction from not working. And the other inaction in action is you get no reaction because you are working in Krishna consciousness. So inaction in action, you don't get any result, even though you are doing action. Anyway, for those of you who like philosophical thoughts, this is like a good one to ponder upon. Action in Krishna consciousness burns up all previous reactions. Okay. Everything depends on desire, the seed. We cannot stop it, but rather transform it. So that's also according to what we saw before. You have the desire, then you have the decision, do I do or not, then the action, and then the reaction. So everything depends on the seed. We cannot stop desire, but we can transform it and have spiritual desires. Giving and accepting money in charity. This is as an example of sometimes even we might be doing good actions. It might also involve some karma into it. Like, for example, giving money to a drunkard. We might feel it's a good action, but we might, the drunkard might use this money for drinking alcohol, which we actually give us some bad reaction behind. Karma is linked to reincarnation and give sense to our birth. That's often also when we speak to people who don't understand or don't have really a clue of karma. This actually gives us understanding of why even at the time of birth some souls are dying or some baby are extremely sick at the time of birth. So how we can explain that? So it's actually with the understanding of the karma and the reincarnation, then it makes sense that this is actually just a result of something that has happened in previous life. But without this understanding of karma, then it will make just God to be cruel, or that everything is just whimsical or random or doesn't make any sense. And then yeah, I have to a little. Karma is given to us by people around us, also devotees. Sometimes it's happening that we are trying to have only association with devotees, and then sometimes we get also some of our karma through the devotees, because super soul has to inflict us to some extent. We are not yet fully free of all the karma, so sometimes it's difficult to digest. How could a devotee speak like this to me, or be cruel to me, or like this? And this is something that is often a difficulty for devotees, but where we want to learn that, okay, we accept it as being part of our karma. And we have this beautiful verse that is spoken by Lord Brahma in the 10th canto, after he had stolen the calves and boys, friends of Krishna. He's praying this Tatenukambam Susumikshamano verse, where the verse said that the devotee should learn to patiently tolerate everything that is happening as the result of his previous activities. And while tolerating that, he's engaging himself in service and expecting the mercy of the Lord. And Lord Brahma said, for the one who is doing that, the door of the spiritual world is great open, and he deserves actually to go back to Godhead. So those are just some thoughts for discussion. I don't know if any of those are stimulating some thoughts on you that you would like to discuss or ask question for. Yes, Jaivalya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I have one question that why God have not given us the remembrance of our actions. For example, currently if I am suffering, then why I have a question that why I am suffering. Instead of if I have a remembrance, then I would be recalled that I have done that bad thing or vikarma. That's why I am suffering.
That's not an easy question. The first answer that came up was it would have been too easy for us to escape the cycle of birth and death, but that's not. yeah, there are things. I honestly, I don't really know why. I don't know. Sometimes it's good to be honest, but it's a good question to maybe ask someone more advanced. Maybe you can get a good answer on that. In one sense, still when the sufferings are coming, or where happiness, but mainly when suffering are coming, we are pushed to think at it, why is that happening to me? And often, actually, especially in the life of devotees, we can reconnect, or we can see, oh yeah, for example, I have tendency to be very precise and very how you say, perfectionist type of person. And often those persons, they have a weakness of being too rigid with others. And so sometimes I can see, in the past I used sometimes to be quite tough with other people, because I was expecting them to be more perfectionist. And then sometimes I see when other people are inflicting me pain, in words, or I can see, oh, this is actually what I used to do to others. So with some understanding, we can actually often, especially as devotee, we can reconnect why the things are happening, and we can actually learn nicely about that. But really, why we cannot remember this, I will not be able to say. But let's see, maybe Rahul has an answer to this question.
Not really, Prabhuji, but one of the explanation that I had received from one of the senior devotees is that I think it was in a lecture I had the same question many years ago. And what he explained to me is actually made a lot of sense. What he said is like, imagine a scenario where God has given you remembrance. Then it's not a selective remembrance. You will remember everything you did in the last life. Yeah. And then you also remember the time when you were in pain in the last life. You also remember your relatives in the last life. So that means you are bound by your last life forever. You will never be able to take the or live the new life. And he was saying it's actually the mercy of the God. He's so kind that he gave you a fresh chance to live a new life, but of course keeping your account intact from the last life to this life. Yeah, it's just that it's a new chance to us to new a new life. Otherwise, he said like you will never live any new life. You will always be stuck in the previous life.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very nice explanation.
Yeah, so I also got the same explanation, but not satisfied because we are here to realize that this is a temporary world and we have to go back to Godhead. But I strongly feel so that at least we remember what vikarma we did. That's why I am suffering. Then one will not repeat that same mistake again and again, and will, for example, in this life, I advance some bit, but I not remember the vikarma in next life. Then if I again repeat, then it will be a slow process to realization that going back to Godhead is the only aim in the life. So that's why I'm not yet convinced with, or realization is not there.
I mean,
Yeah, Haribo.
another thought that comes is, we are in this material world because we want to enjoy this material world, and therefore, because of this tendency of enjoying the material world, we need to get reaction, and we have actually to purify this tendency of trying to enjoy the material world. So, yeah, but it actually doesn't answer the question. It's another thought that now it's slipped out of my mind. Anyway, let's see. Maybe we can have a group work trying to answer the question. Harika and Sudhir, do you have something for this question, or do you have another question?
Same question. Just I also heard Prabhuji, somebody from Ramanuja Sampradaya, somebody told me almost kind of similar answer, because we are already not able to digest the current memories, whatever we are having in our present life. So if the God gives the remembrance of previous life, we can't hold in our mind, and we can't bear that pressure. So he is gifted to remember, forget the past, and yeah, that's what I heard. Maybe
Okay.
mostly similar, whatever
Yeah.
all other devotees are.
Yeah. Okay, I see Yvonne also. Thank you.
Yes, maybe it is the reason behind the suffering is maybe not that we don't make any mistakes anymore or make everything correct, but it could be that we surrender to the Supreme Lord and take shelter, and that is why we suffer.
So that's maybe another perspective, that the suffering happening, they are actually going to help us understand we are not, this world is not meant for us, and this is anyway a world of duality where we have to suffer anyway. This is what you mean?
Yes, the suffering can help us to surrender.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So, oops, here is the next slide. Come a little late, this one. Let me see if there is an extra thought. Yeah, one thought I had also on the question of Judge Valia is that it's like, why is God not just showing himself to us and saying, I'm here, just follow me, and he could do that? Or why God just not take us back home right away? He could also do that. So there is, he's making it in a subtle way. It is not making it in a direct way, but in a subtle way. Therefore, we have to enter into the way of faith to enter. So I think I will make it a little bit similar in this case. He give us the understanding of all this karma is working, but he's not making it just too easy. Otherwise, he will maybe impede on our desire to enjoy in this material world. So he wants us to purify this desire on our own. So you really want that it comes from our heart, and it's made out of love for him, that we will actually go like this. Otherwise, many might just learn about how to be a good person, but they will not learn how to connect it with God, or with him who is behind. So the fact that it doesn't make it too clear is actually helping us to approach him as God, as the person behind who is able to do all of that. So that's also, I don't know if it's satisfying, but that's also make a little sense to me, and also a thought behind.
I think this also reminds me about the prayers of Queen Kunti, because she really begs sufferings to Lord Krishna, so that she says that her mind is totally not distracting even for a moment from the Lord's feet.
Yeah, and that's the approach the devotees will have actually with suffering. I mean, the devotees will always see what can I learn from that. But when you have a situation where you don't see that you can much learn about, because even after reflection or even feedback of other people, you did everything right, or everything was okay, then you will see, okay, that's an opportunity. I anyway cannot do it anything. Then let me take shelter. Let me turn toward Krishna, and let me understand, okay, this world is just meant for experiencing happiness, and distress is just bound to happen. This is not where I want to stay. I want now to serve the Lord no matter what. And one can take it in a different way at those moments of suffering. But it's good to go through the first level of trying to see first, okay, is there something I have to correct? And learn from there, and then we can go to the different stages. Thank you. It's actually very nice sangha to discuss like this with devotee on different approach and vision on these laws of karma. It's very nice. Anyone else will have something? And see, we never stop learning. Even though I teach this presentation, I mean, 3 or 4 times now, I always get like a new insight and new thoughts, and it's very, very, very nice. Okay, so we will go now to the last presentation for this first session. And this one is a little bit more simple, a little shorter as well, and this is about destiny and free will. Okay. So, is the living entity in the material world controlled or free? Are his activities predetermined, or does he choose them himself? So it's more or less a sequence, from reincarnation to karma, and then okay, is just everything my karma, or what is going on with my activity? Do I have chance to do something, or is just my karma? So are we free? Maybe we could ask Harika and Sudhir to read this slide.
Even though we want to control and enjoy, so often it does not work out. Even though we would like to live in a certain way, we are often forced to act in a way we do not like. Addictions and unhealthy behaviors. The senses and mind are controlling us. The modes of material nature are controlling us. And
Thank you. So this is showing us that we are surely not totally free. We have a lot of factors in our life that push us to act in some ways. And then, are we totally controlled? Here we could ask maybe, let me see if someone did not read yet. No, I think we all went through. We can go. Maybe Chirag, you can read this one.
We would not be responsible for our actions. Animals are not getting karma because they cannot make independent decisions. That would make God whimsical to send some people to hell and some in heaven. Because Krishna is fully independent, his parts and parcels also should have a small independence. Without free will, how could we surrender? Without free will, how could there be any love?
Super. So here we have argument from the other direction. If we will be totally controlled, then God will be whimsical to put some in good and some in bad situation. We are part and parcel of the Lord who is fully independent, so it's natural we have some independence. If we will not have independence, no way to surrender, there will be no love available because we will just be controlled to act in such and such a way. So it's something in between. It's not that we are totally controlled and not that we are totally free. Okay, so here we have a beautiful calf from Vrindavan, and the question is this calf free? I guess some of you might know the answer, but still, yeah, let me know if you know the answer. Is this calf free?
Not fully. With some space, it is free, but not too far.
Thank you, Judge Valia. That's the proper answer. The calf is actually free, but to the extent of the rope. She's not, so she has some freedom in the extent of the rope, but she is not fully free. And this is actually the same for us. We have some freedom, but not full freedom. So to which extent do we have this freedom? And maybe we could ask Dipali Mataji to read.
Hare Krishna Guru. To which extent do we have free? To decide if we want to be controlled by material energy or by the spiritual energy following Krishna's instruction or not. Choosing to do good in moment of moral dilemma. One can choose the mode of material nature we want to associate with, to the response we give to the karma coming to us.
That's
Our
the
freedom.
Yes, please.
Our freedom is according to the size of the rope, gunas.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Tatenu Kampam, this is this particular verse from 10 Canto I was mentioning before. So we have some independence according to the size of the rope, and actually this is very much connected to the rope of the Triguna, because our independence, when we are under the mode of illusion or the mode of passion, our independence is very, 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 very small, very, very teeny. But only when we get into the mode of goodness, then we have much more space for our freedom. And mainly the freedom will be on how we react on the situation that come on us. And there it needs actually some times of thinking to not just react, that will be usually mode of passion, but the time when we can think of what is actually happening and providing a proper answer. There we have the choice in the way we will answer, and this choice, this ability to have this freedom will be according to the size of the rope. And in the mode of goodness, the size is much wider. In the other mode, we are really very, very small rope. And there is also the choice on choosing if we want to follow Krishna's instruction or not. And yeah, in moment of moral dilemma. So this is more or less where our freedom lies, defined by the mode of goodness most of all, and on the way we react on the situation of life. So here is a nice explanation, a nice analogy that explains that the passenger of an airplane have the free will to act as they are flying, but their destination is predetermined by their choice to board the plane. So inside of the plane, they still have some things they can choose to do. They can stay sitting or stand up or go to the bathroom, but their destination is already predetermined by their action of entering the plane. So this is a little bit how the whole things is working. There are some action that have to bring us to some result, but still we have some free will to act in between, and especially into the answer we will give to the activities that are coming to us, or the action or the reaction that are coming to us. There our free will come, how do we react on them, and are we still staying in this cycle of creating new reaction, or are we moving actually into the akarma section where we want to just please and serve the Lord and have pure spiritual activities that will not anymore bind us. And here we have again some points of discussion. Maybe we could ask Babajit to read this last one.
Points of discussion. The soul is responsible for its own entanglement in the material world. Entanglement and liberation are results of our desires, use or misuse of our freedom. Freedom only in the mode of goodness. Following the four following the rules of freedom, 4 regulations.
Yeah, thank you. So that's, I mean, one I mentioned already about the importance of the mode of goodness. Following the rules of freedom, which will help us naturally to come to the mode of goodness and will give us more space to act freely. The soul responsible from its own entanglement in this material world. Yeah, it's misuse of our freedom that brings us into entanglement. And yeah, everything is actually based, connected to our desire. Huh? And from there we will use or misuse our freedom connected to if it's material, following material desire, or if it's connected to spiritual desires. And then we end with the last verse. I think that's the end. Maybe we can ask Bhakti Nivon to read this one.
Srimad Bhagavatam 10:24-14 purport. That which we call destiny, fate, or karma is an elaborate and subtle system of rewards and punishments meant for gradually encouraging conditioned souls to evolve to the stage of perfect consciousness, which is their original constitutional nature.
Thank you. Oops. Okay, so we have done the 3 sections for today. Reincarnation, karma, and destiny and free will. So I do not know if you have some more questions or some more thoughts on all those topics. Okay, I see Rahul. Sorry to inform you that I have to release our class by 20. Okay, sure. Thank you.
I will not be able to attend the next session, Prabhuji. I mean, I have to take the children to school, and Mataji is in examination today. So
okay, sure. If you can,
but I will listen to the recording.
Yeah, I think it's actually quite of a valuable one as well. You might like to hear the recording. Thank you. Okay, so oh, super. Judge Valia, who has a question?
Prabhuji, when this destination is the outcome of a reaction, or what it is, means who decide or how this destiny get manifest? For example, a town get natural disaster, so everybody's destiny is to get die or in natural calamity. So how this destiny manifest for individual or for some community or some family or complete country?
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question. It's definitely for sure not easy to understand how all that is functioning, how all the karma is functioning. But what I have heard is there are sometimes some, how they call that, some global reaction, or they are like global sinful activities, and then you have a global reaction coming in a certain place. That's what I have heard. That sometimes it's how you say, a karma. I don't get the right word, but it's like a grouped karma or a global karma that is actually coming from some activities that are maybe not good in the world and manifest maybe even in another part of the world. So it's still a reaction of something that is not done properly, that comes in a negative way, but it's coming, like it's a common, I think, the common reaction or common karma given to different place and different people. Now I think only the super soul will know exactly why all those people there they are getting this common karma and things like this. I think it's beyond our ability. Only the super soul can know all of that. But there are some karma, and we can see even in our Krishna consciousness movement, we can see some places where when Prabhupada was not anymore in this world, where some disciples of Prabhupada were doing things that were not good. Like, for example, in some countries, they were doing many things illegal. And then you can see that some of those countries, they have a very bad reaction from all those things that have happened. And it's extremely difficult for those countries to come out of a lot of criticizing, a lot of difficult negativity and things like this. And there actually we speak also some type of karma that they have to more or less burn out until the yatra and it can start again. So this is even because also Krishna say, I will take all your karma away, but this is when we actually fully surrender. But when we are not fully surrendered, there is still some action and reaction, and there might be some things that was done 20 years ago, and now it's still in the air for devotees who were not actually implicated to what was done in the past that was not so good, but still the situation is like this and they have to go through. So that's maybe also an example of type of common karma of an activity done by a group of persons that give a reaction to maybe another group of persons, because those who were doing the action are maybe not there anymore. So, but it's not very easy to understand all how it works. That's another question mark that Krishna leaves into the mystic realm for us to actually connect to him as a person, and that we take the decision of becoming his servant. That's part of the mystical arrangement of the Lord.
So it is not anywhere mentioned in scriptures about the how this manifest or explanation of this.
I did not see, at least in making this course together, I did not see more technicality of how it actually works. This is actually as far as I could see. But again, please ask some other devotees. I'm not like the most scholarly type of devotee, so I like all the experience I got in Krishna consciousness and shared to them and get more and like this. But I'm not like shastrically like super sharp like Damodar Priya, for example, or Sudam Prabhu. They will be like much more shastrically strong. So please keep asking to some devotees who might have more answer. I myself also have some devotees, like especially Adipurusha Prabhu, who is like very, very brilliant in understanding the scripture. So often when I have myself some things I'm not sure, like this, I send him a message and ask him for clarification. So even after 20 years of Krishna consciousness, we always stay in the mood of a learner. And anytime there are things we don't know, it's good to always clarify and keep learning further. So it's good to keep asking, because questions are super important. It's actually one item of devotional service to ask question, one of the 64, and it's actually very powerful and very important one. And often it turns out like very powerful. It's induce actually the speaker to say things that he might not have said yet, that are actually very important. And so it's very good. I'm very appreciative, especially, I mean, I don't want to glorify you in public, but you always ask very good and relevant question, and that's actually very, very nice. It's very inspiring.
Maybe next week when I will be at Golok Dham, we'll discuss more.
Okay, I will prepare myself. So I see Deepali Mataji, you have also a question or topic of discussion.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my question is regarding today's Nirjala Ekadashi. So can you please explain us that what should we do on this day? More seva or anything like that, or fasting regarding
Yeah, yeah.
information?
I mean, this Nirjala Ekadashi, we have the general story of Bhima, who was not able to follow any of the Ekadashi because he liked to eat so much, or he was saying, I need strength. And then Krishna said, okay, at least once in a year, you will follow Ekadashi, but this one without eating any grains and full fast and not drinking and not eating anything. And then you will be actually covering all the other Ekadashi you did not do. So often if during the year we miss one Ekadashi or two or like this, it is said, okay, then do it good in Nirjal, and then you counteract all the activities. So that's the general understanding. But for example, in the time of Prabhupada, there was not much of this Nirjala Ekadashi and to do it without water and like this. That's something that came a little bit later as we were seeing in the scripture and noticing this and that. And so it's actually, I personally tried to do it without water, but the trick is actually usually the day before you have to drink a lot. If you don't drink so much the day before, then it's very difficult to do it with water, without water. But the general understanding of all the Ekadashis is actually that we provide a space where we can do more spiritual activities. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati once was sending his disciple to go and do preaching, and the disciple say, "Oh, Gurumaharaj, it's Ekadashi today. We are fasting, we are weak, so we will just rest and take it easy." So Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati said, "That's not Ekadashi. That's Ekadashi should actually give us strength to do more service." But because usually we are all quite okay in doing practical activities, but because we are, I mean, most of us very much in neophyte level of devotees, it is actually more recommended that we will do more chanting and reading and pure spiritual activities like services where it's also spiritual, but maybe our mind will be all over the place while we do the service or something like this. So it's usually recommended on Ekadashi to read more, to chant more, maybe to not even check one's WhatsApp messages or email, or unless there is like really like necessity, and really try to chant more and read more and absorb more in Krishna consciousness. And if we do some fasting, this will give us more time to do those activities, and also our consciousness is more light, so we can absorb deeper into our spiritual activities. And if we do that nicely, actually we get strength up to the next Ekadashi. We get actually following those Ekadashi nicely, like prioritizing our spiritual activities. We get a lot of spiritual strengths that uh, carry us up to the next Ekadashi. So it's actually very good to even beginning of the month, you check out, okay, where are the Ekadashi this month, make a note in your agenda, and okay, I will not travel on this day, maybe I don't take meeting on this day. You reserve it as far as possible as a day for Krishna. And another things that Bhaktivinoda Thakur recommends is that you use you on Ekadashi, you make a checkup. How are you doing in your spiritual life? You take some time to think where I am now, what are my weaknesses, what are my strengths. And also you can make, I did it actually quite some years with my wife, you make spiritual goals for the next 2 weeks. Okay, these 2 weeks coming, I will try to chant the holy name at least eight rounds together. I will try to read at least 15 minutes in Krishna book in the evening. So you make some types of goal like this for the next 2 weeks. And we used to actually have it on the wall. So you are reminded during the week, and then it's actually helping a lot. Even some goal of introspection. I will try to not criticize anyone. I will try things like this on behavior. So it can be goals for sadhana, it can be goals on behaviors, goals on service. I will clean the temple room every Sunday feast, or something like this. So you can divide different areas of devotional service and have some goals on that you try to do it for 2 weeks. My experience is don't make too many of them. Keep it simple, but just as a direction. And this is actually very helpful. It pushes you actually naturally in improving your devotional service. And then after 2 weeks, you check out, and for sure, if you can do 50% of what you wanted to do is already great. So you might say, okay, this I did it good, so maybe for next 2 weeks I change. And the other one you say, okay, this I did not do anything, okay, I keep it for the next week, and so on and so forth. So that's also a recommendation one can do on Ekadashi.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? So I think we will stop here. We are supposed to reassume at 12 for the last workshop, so we have a little longer break. I thought maybe we can start earlier because we finished earlier, but some are not. Rahul Prabhu is not on the call. Anyway, he will not be able to be there. Is it okay for everyone if we do the next course at 12, or you want to have it a little earlier?
Anything is fine.
For me, 12 is better.
12 is also better.
Okay, then we do it at 12. Then see you later. Have a good break, a good refreshing break. See you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.